Hello, everyone. So today we are announcing version 0.3.7. This is a minor release. We're still working pretty hard on our major release after the holidays that will include Mingo, which is a technician AI assistant that will be on our dashboard, and AI guardrails that will define policies for extensive activities that Faye can do. Some of them would be also based on a technician approval. So imagine that the local AI agent wants to delete something or wants to install something or wants to execute a certain command, you guys will be able to define whether it's require your technician approval or the user approval itself. So that's kind of the big release, and that's why this release is a bit smaller. And we also have a bunch of things that are on the release, but they're not externalized to you guys because it's still turned off with feature flag and we are kind of testing it internally. Let's go over through the stuff we have here. We changed the technology of all of our chats. So now everything is work with NUTS. You still don't see it. It still work with SSE. Social auto login. So if you register with Google or Microsoft, our generic Google or Microsoft, you will be auto redirected into your new dashboard. Enhanced cloud environment launch. This is the way we kind of manage the cloud instances on the backend. Billing and subscription, that allows us to track dashboards in a better manner and also track the activities inside. Windows CLI compatibility issues and comprehensive documentation. These are two things that we saw that people were talking about in Reddit on the OpenFrame thread. So that's for the CLI component of the product. So if anyone wants to deploy it as self-hosted, we still have pretty high requirements, hardware requirements, and the documentation was not the best. So for the first problem, like we had three major problems. Okay, so we had the Windows CLI prerequisites were not getting deployed correctly. The second one was just very extensive hardware requirements, which we will talk about in a second. And the third one, the documentation was out of date. It was overlooked when it was created. So for the first thing, the Windows prerequisites issues, we fixed it and we added Windows to be part of our CI/CD tests. So right now you can go ahead, and even if you'll go into this, I went to the release and I clicked on the last link. So you will be able to see here everything that was updated. You can also, if you go to release, so that's this release, you will see that you have here Windows AMD and Windows ARM 64-bit. So this is one thing we added. So Windows is supposed to be better experience and supposed to be more stable and supposed to be more easy to deploy. The second thing we did was we built a pretty interesting AI engine that basically generates documentation on the fly based on the changes that we're doing. So if we go to the OpenFrame CLI repository, you will see that the README, the documentation, both documentation for developers, but also for users that just want to deploy the self-hosted version of OpenFrame, should be pretty easy. We also updated the requirements, etc. There's probably still things that are not that like 80% correct or things like that. If you see anything like this, please feel free to tell us. Now to the third thing, which is the most major one, the hardware requirements that the self-hosted version requires. Honestly, for local version, like if you really want to run it on a Windows or Linux or a Mac local machine, there's not much we can do. There's also a limitation when it comes to virtualization technology. So if you guys just going to go ahead and take a VPS or anything similar, most of the time VT is turned off for those machines, so you're not going to be able to deploy Docker. And if you're not going to be able to deploy Docker on this machine, we were not going to be able to run K3D, which is Kubernetes, on top of Docker. So it's just not going to work. In terms of the requirements from the system itself, we have around 120 different pods and services that we deploy as part of our Helm charts. So there's not much we can do just because the system is so scalable and kind of developed in a way that is microservices that has kind of scalable databases like Cassandra, Pinot, MongoDB, etc. So what we're going to do about it is that rather than having you deploying it on a machine using the CLI, we're gonna open the option to users to provide us with Kubernetes control plane, and we will be able to use our CLI to deploy it remotely on a Kubernetes cluster that you're gonna provide us with. So rather than running everything locally, you're gonna be able just with one line command just to deploy it on a remote Kubernetes cluster, and that should resolve most of the problems that you have with resources and high hardware consumption and requirements, etc. A few other things that we fixed. We moved the container registry to GHCR. So if you guys ever had the problems with Docker Hub that was blocking rate limits to deploy the CLI, it's not going to happen anymore. All of the containers are working now with all of the images are working with our container registry. So everything is Flamingo stack, etc. We fixed the Mac OS code signing implementation. We kind of refactoring the entire a lot of parts of our Mac OS X client again, just because permissions have changed and the way you can request things like view the screen and record the screen and all this kind of stuff became pretty hard on the last versions of Mac, so we have to change it altogether. We are working on an extensive logging and monitoring system, both for the self-hosted and also for our SaaS shared clusters. So we removed Loki, which is a logging aggregation tool, but we're adding Grafana Alui. So we just removed like it was kind of deprecated from our end. We didn't need the Loki anymore, but expect big release when it comes to monitoring metrics and understanding what's going on. We're also going to have a bunch of dashboards on Grafana that's going to tell us what's going on with each cluster. This is pretty much it for this release. So again, wishing everyone happy holidays. We keep on working through the holidays in order to make sure that we release the huge version we talked about before. I think this version is going to be a game changer for us and for the industry as a whole. Mentioning again our community, so OpenMSP. If you guys want to impact the product, if you want to have if you're willing to take customer interviews with us, if you want to impact the roadmap, ask questions, ask for access codes, just go to openmsp.ai. You can register to the community platform itself, and you can also go here and click on Open Community, and then you will be redirected to our Slack community, where there you can communicate with us directly. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening, and have happy holidays and happy new year. Bye bye.